HeliOffshore's 2018 annual conference brought together more than 200 delegates from the organization's 112 member companies. Senior leaders from across the offshore helicopter industry came here to discuss how they can effectively implement the group's main safety priorities.
For HeliOffshore, we've gone from building capability, building a strategy, to now execution. And so I think that we got tremendous alignment between the shareholders, between the board members, between our OEM and client partners and the regulators on how that journey is now going to be executed.
I'm very excited about the progress we've been making on our collaboration. We started out building the foundations of trust, working together, sharing information. And in our journey, we've created the architecture of our strategy, which we've aligned with many parties across the industry. And in fact, we started having materials. We have many products now that have been produced. And we're at the stage in our collaboration where it's all about implementation to get the results we want in the front line. And this conference really did take a major step forward in how we can execute our priorities. And it really takes good coordination and collaboration between the different parts of our industry to get the greatest value out of our work. And I felt a tangible buzz in the room because people could see it all coming together, and the power of our collaboration really stronger than any one of us alone.
The conference heard a strong commitment from oil companies about how they intend to support the key next steps in our safety collaboration.
Safety is all about people, first and foremost, and we will never forget that. But it's also good business. If you look at a cost of, for example, if we lost a helicopter, you lose $40 million. But if you look at the knock-on effects of that, the waves that occur thereafter, grounding of the aircraft, grounding of the fleet, the impact on contracts is in the billions of dollars. I think what we really need here is specific proposals, project proposals that we can discuss and take forward. We have a very strong aviation subcommittee in IGP. They're here today, working with the OEMs and with the operators, the helicopter operators. You have a powerful team of people who could come up with strong, specific proposals that we are willing to be part of. And that's how I think IOGP will be helped.
IOGP really is supporting the work of HeliOffshore. They're standing shoulder to shoulder with us in our commitment to save lives in our industry.
I think it'll probably be a combination of a couple of things. I believe safety programs and funding is critical, and I think getting really clear on what those priorities are, so I believe you'll see that happen. I also think that you'll see an alignment around operating standards. I think you'll also see some alignment and movement on contracting standards to align those better for simplification. And it's good for everybody. So clarity is very important in this space.
We're right on the cusp. I feel good about a lot of the things that HeliOffshore has done so far and where we've come on some of these programs. But I feel that there's so much more that we can do. And if you look at the collaborative effort on the fixed wing side, the element of trust, the element of data security, knowing that my data is going to be used appropriately, and the non-punitive nature of the data collected. Those were three kind of key foundational elements of the fixed wing world before they could really take off with their collaborative efforts.
Also high on the agenda was the new Safety Intelligence Program and efforts to counteract risk in the maintenance process through human hazard analysis.
For me, this is what HeliOffshore was founded for, right? It's not just a function to align our stakeholders. It's about getting the information that allows us to then manage and understand the risk and then be able to put not just work streams on it, but be able to understand it on the front lines. So as a frontline employee, as a Bristow frontline employee, I would want to know that the leadership is getting this data from all over the industry. It's going to be done in a way that's anonymous. It's going to be done in a way that you give data and then you get data. And this to me is really what our founders wanted us to be able to do, because you can't manage and lead what you can't measure. And so this measurement will allow us to be much more efficient in managing and eliminating the risk in offshore flying.
I'm going to use the fixed wing analogy. When you go back and look at when some of those programs were started, they were all based on looking out of the rearview mirror in terms of historical accident information. that community has come forward, and now, for example, 22 of the last safety enhancements put out by CAST were based on proactive information collected through data. I think where we're at in the rotor wing world is we're still looking backwards because we don't have the data collection in order to look at more proactive activities.
Trust is a real foundation to the whole collaborative effort, realizing that you're working towards a common goal, but you're not going to use any of that information in working towards that goal against each other. But you're going to be working together because what's good for one organization is good for another organization, even if you are competitors.
There was also news of work to bring a new obstacle avoidance technology into frontline service. And the word was that the helicopter terrain awareness system could be ready by 2019.
Well, we are in the final stage of the development phase, and we are actively making the commercial software available to customers. And what we are planning to do is that all of the changes we are doing will be a software change to existing EGPWS Mark 22, and will hopefully become available sometime in 2019.
As part of its efforts to step up implementation of key safety programs, HeliOffshore is adopting stage gate review processes and dashboards developed by manufacturers to keep programs on schedule.
It was great to see Sikorsky and Airbus together presenting a stage gate review process that could help us look at how we implement and execute our vision. So we get really clear about who's doing what by when, what are the key decisions we need to make about resources, funding, and whether we've got viable plans. And then, once we've implemented, sharing the information to show we got the results in the front line that we were after.
These leaders came together, we presented them with what we're planning for a stage gate approach in terms of how we collaborate and organize our projects together. And for me, that's the difference that they're going to take back. And one of the things that we need to look at is how they take back and communicate internally what we achieved here at HeliOffshore. Because to me, that's the fundamental value of what we've done, is to communicate that commitment and that drive, not only at this level, but down through the organization to the front line.
Well, the record levels of participation in this year's HeliOffshore conference seem to demonstrate that the organization's commitment to a collaborative approach to enhancing safety are as strong as ever. And 4 years on from the founding of HeliOffshore, it seems clear that the foundations are now in place to achieve the priorities that we believe have the best potential to save lives.
We're in a much better place now than we were 4 years ago. At least we're all in the same room, so that starts there for one thing. We're all talking to each other. I think that's a huge movement forward, and I feel like we're right on the cusp with data sharing and data information of making something happen here that will actually benefit the industry. And the big thing is it's all based upon, so it's factual information. It's based upon what the data tells us, and that will take us to where we need to go.
None of us is as smart as all of us. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a continual drive, not only through the work streams, not only through the board, not only through the leadership of the industry, attending this event, but the various events that we had throughout the year. So as we continue to drive through the work streams, the work that has been agreed at this level, we've also put in certain other meeting places that we can gather the strategic group. So we have the strategy panel, and that's where we develop on what we've achieved today. So it's not just talk, it's driving to action. Who's going to do what by when? And that's what I'm really looking forward to, and that's what we're going to drive out over the next 12 months.